It might be fascinating hearing an audio recording from someone from long ago. It's also horrifyingly creepy having to understand the exact true reasons and meanings behind these recordings. Brace yourself, these are guaranteed to bring goosebumps down your spine. Number 5. Last audio tape of 1,000 people committing mass suicide. Jim Jones promised paradise to his followers, only to lead them to their graves in one horrific stroke, the highest loss of American civilian life until the September 11th terrorist attack. Jones formed the pseudo-church in his native Indiana in the 1950s and called it the People's Temple Full Gospel Church, known in short as the People's Church. He saw it as a church, while in reality, this was arguably a cult demanding serious dedication from its members. Besides being a cult leader and an ultimate homicidal man, he had one bright spot. He and his wife were strongly in favor of racial integration and adopted a bunch of kids from different backgrounds. One of them was Jones Jr., who later recounts on his father's endeavors down right to the massacre. At one point he said, the concept was to build a new world. Jones opened branches throughout the state, but made his home and headquarters in San Francisco and became known as a charismatic minister with a multiracial family, also called the Rainbow Family. In the 1970s, he persuaded nearly 1,000 followers to move with him to a remote jungle in Guyana, located along the northern Atlantic coast of South America. All they wanted was to be accepted, and Jones provided that. Only, they worked long days in the fields without enough food. It didn't take long for some of the followers to start feeling disappointed. Jones became increasingly paranoid and began to lose perception of reality bit by bit, and even convinced himself that he was some sort of superhuman martyr. Over the years, he even abandoned all pretenses of Christianity and revealed himself to be an atheist who had used religion as a medium to legitimize his views. He grew obsessed with revolutionary suicide and insisted on his followers to prepare to die for their cause. At some point, he had them unknowingly rehearse for their deaths by drinking a Kool-Aid-like fruit drink he had them believe had been poisoned and told them it hadn't only after a good number of people drank it. At one point, a U.S. representative flew to Guyana to investigate the state of followers, together with some worried relatives and journalists. As he prepared to leave, some defectors insisted on going with him. This angered Jones and sent some gunmen to ambush the group. The UA rep was killed among 4 others. He then gathered his followers for a final sermon. He can be heard saying in the audio, "We've had as much in this world as you're going to get. Let's just be done with it. Let's be done with the agony of it." He then gave an order to his followers to drink the cyanide-spiked punch, killing 900 people, among them 300 children. A considerable number of people were also held and forcibly injected with the poison. As for Jones, he died as a result of a single gunshot wound to the head, believed to be self-inflicted.
Oh, that it's all over. I'm glad it's over. Hurry, hurry, my children, hurry. All I say, does not fall into the hands of the enemy. Hurry, my children. Hurry. The seniors out here that I'm concerned about. Hurry. I don't want to leave my seniors to this mess. Quickly, 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 quickly. Sisters, good knowing you. No more pain, Al. No more pain, I said, Al. No more pain. Jim Cobb is laying on the airfield dead at this moment. Remember, the Oliver woman said she'd come over and kill me if her sons wouldn't stop her. These are people, the peddlers of hate. All we're doing is laying down our life. We're not letting them take our life. We're laying down our life. We're seeking their lives. We just want peace.
All I'd like to say is that my so-called parents was filled with so much hate. And treachery. I think you people out here should think about how your relatives was and be glad about that the children are being laid to rest. And all I like to say is I thank Dad for making me strong to stand with it all and make me ready for it. Thank you.
Talking to them, all they're doing is taking a drink to go to sleep. That's what death is, sleep. I'm tired of it all.
Loving thing he could have ever done, the most loving thing all of us could have done. And it's been a pleasure walking with all of you in this revolutionary struggle. No other way I would rather go and give my life for socialism.
Number 4. Creepy audio tape of the first female cosmonaut right before her death. Achille and Giovanni Giudica Cordiglia the two brothers who claim they recorded several Soviet space missions from their radio station at Tora Beret, which are part of the Lost Cosmonauts conspiracy theory that the Soviet Union had several fatal manned mission failures that were hidden from the public during the Cold War period to prevent bad publicity. Among these was the voice of a Russian cosmonaut as her capsule burned in re-entry in November of 1963. As the story goes, the Soviets had planned to launch the mission before the Americans could be able to send a second astronaut into Earth's orbit. John Glenn, an American, would finally put that mission to rest on February 20th, 1962. However, the USSR's manned Vostok orbital launch was scheduled to go around the Earth on March 16th, 1961. It ended up achieving 17 circuits around the Earth. The Russians topped the Americans by achieving the 17 circuits, but that wasn't enough. They wanted a record of sending the very first woman into space. As was expected, everything seemed well during the mission. However, before she could re-enter the atmosphere, something unknown until today went horribly wrong. The entire ordeal as recorded is unexplained, and no one can seem to recount what happened. No matter if it's true or not, this recording will still send chills through anyone. Some people say that by the time re-entry was attempted, it had been a full week. The ship's oxygen supply was running low and nearly depleted at this point, causing her to call into the radio. Number 3. Audio tape from a disturbed ex-employee of Area 51. For years, there have been rumors of unexplained things in the skies, but they reached a peak when Bob Lazar, who claimed to be a former employee of Area 51, went on TV in 1989 with what he said was evidence that the US Air Force was conducting tests on flying saucers, which could be observed from a public land nearby. The Area 51, among other legends, is known to be used by the US government to build and test experimental aircraft and weapon systems. It's been doing this since the flight testing of the U-2 spy plane, which began in 1955. The U-2 was designed by Lockheed on behalf of the CIA. It was a high-altitude, long-range aircraft with the ability to fly over enemy territory and take pictures at the same time, unobserved. The audio was made in a segment from a radio show Art Bell did on the supposed night he asked workers for Area 51 to call in and spill the beans about Area 51. He definitely got more than he bargained for. If you take time to listen to the audio, then you might find yourself believing in Bob Lazar's claims. He called into the show in a panic, revealing that the US was being tricked by aliens from outer space and that they meant harm to the human race. He also claimed to be on run from the federal government. In the middle of the phone call, something unexpected happened. There was a disturbance with a satellite, and at least 50 separate radio stations went dead for at least half an hour, which could be proof that the government was trying to interfere with his phone call for him to not get the truth out. Later, Bob Lazar called back to Coast and explained that the initial call was a hoax, but that he obviously had no idea what caused the satellite failure. That could have been a coincidence as well. Some people still believe Bob Lazar's claims are true, and the real hoax is the final call claiming the initial one wasn't genuine.
Hello, Art?
Yes.
Hi. I don't have a whole lot of time.
Well, look, let's begin by finding out whether you're using this line properly or not.
Area 51.
Yeah, that's right. Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start. They're gonna they'll triangulate on this position really soon.
You can't spend a lot of time on the phone, so give us something quick.
Okay. Okay. What we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, I'm sorry, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now.
Number 2. The recording of the exorcism of Annalise Mitchell. The Exorcism of Emily Rose is a movie following the story of a young girl who is seemingly possessed by the devil and is based on the true happenings about Annalise Mitchell's life. It has been one of the most famous stories of demonic possession on record. She was born in 1952 in Germany, was Catholic, and described by those who knew her as very nice and very likable. She began to suffer from convulsions at the age of 16 while still in high school. She experienced her first epileptic attack in 1969, and that's when a neurologist at a psychiatric clinic in Würzburg diagnosed her with grand mal epilepsy. Annalise, on the other hand, reported after her very first episode she felt like something was pressing down on her, holding her down. Over the following 3 years, she experienced the same episodes. Her brain scans, however, kept coming back normal. Things took a turn for the worst in 1973, when she reported a knocking on her bedroom. Her sisters supposedly heard the knock too. Annalise also reported hearing a voice damning her to hell. The weirdness continues with her mother reporting seeing her daughter staring at a portrait of the Virgin Mary with jet black eyes. Annalise's mother sought help from medical and religious sources, but her daughter's condition only worsened. Annalise barely slept, fed on spiders and flies, and even settled for her own urine to quench her thirst. She also displayed an unimaginable amount of strength for someone in her condition. The first exorcism was performed in 1975 by a priest named Father Renz. He allowed a few of the sessions to be put on recording, and believe me, they are truly disturbing. Her voice is unrecognizable. At one point, she mentioned Valentine Fleshman, a priest who had been excommunicated from the church for bad behavior, as one of her demons. Even most chilling, she described accurate details of his life, when this was one person she had absolutely no reason to know about. She refused to eat, saying she wasn't permitted to do so. She only weighed 80 pounds and yet possessed the strength termed as supernatural. She died of starvation at the age of 23 after 67 exorcisms.
Sie Drecksau, sie verfluchte! Der das ganze Deutschland verführt, oder? Ja, der ist ja noch drin.
Number 1. Saddening 911 domestic abuse call from a 6-year-old. A 6-year-old child called in to 911 on November 21st, 1990. She was witnessing her stepfather brutally beat her mother and her siblings. Lisa Floyd is the girl on the other end of the line. Everything she utters is horrifying to listen to, and you can really feel the pain in her words. She's in tears during the call and is begging the dispatcher to send the police. Years after this recording, Lisa shared her story with the Child Protective Service workers to help educate them about domestic abuse. This is not the first time she witnessed her mother being beaten by her stepfather continually. She recounted 23 documented cases of CPS coming to her house. Neither she nor her siblings were taken away, although she wishes they had, since it would have been a better situation. But then, she did not want to be separated from her mother. The experiences from her childhood had lasting effects on her life, including low self-esteem, and even ended up in the same type of abusive relationship that her mother had been in. She finally put herself off the cycle of violence and left her violent boyfriend when she was pregnant with a second child. The recording has since been released to the public for educational purposes.
Sending emergency. Sending emergency.
My mommy and daddy are having a fight.
Is she getting
What? I'm talking to the police, mommy. Could you just send the police, please?
Okay, we're going to be there. We're taking your baby.
Stop it! No!